Hello, and welcome to another high-voltage episode of No Sleep. I'm your co-host, Jason Vance.
Oh, yeah, and as usual, I am your other co-host, Regent St. Clair, and we are the show that's dedicated to bringing you the greatest movies that you probably never heard of.
Or, if any of you are real hardcore movie freaks,
like we are,
then we'll probably be showing you clips from movies you might already know, but you probably haven't seen them in a very long time.
And of course, the theme of today's show, which is a very special show, is Rock and Roll Never Forgets, meaning it's movies about rock and roll and also pop and other kinds of music.
You know, and I'm just so excited that I think I'm about to lose control, but I think I like it.
I think he's right.
My first pick for today is a film called Arena, and it's actually a concert film by Duran, but not strictly performance footage. There's all this really weird and visually amazing stuff going on all around the concert while the band is playing. It's way ahead of its time. The director, Russell Mulcahy, also directed Duran's videos, Rio, Hungry Like the Wolf, and all those classics.
And Talk Talk, by Talk Talk.
Talk Talk also. So just to give you a little taste of what this looks like, we're going to look at a clip from Duran Arena, and you'll also see the boys at the height of Duran mania. So let's take a look at the clip.
Here you go, Arena.
Not escaping. I've a better idea.
Let's get out of here. He's gone mad.
So they've deserted me. What a pity. They'll miss the fun and games.
Well, there you go. A very, actually, as you can see, ambitious project for any rock band at that time. This is pretty old, so to do something like this that's almost cinematic and has this total story and involved thing going on mixed with their seemingly almost lackluster stage performance, comparatively to this amazing stuff. And you're seeing Duran, of course, as you mentioned, at the peak of their pop stardom. Of course, in that clip, was that the walking guy in that one?
No, he wasn't.
There's a guy kind of like what Marilyn Manson does now with the big, stilty,
kind of like the Wheelers from Return to Oz.
Exactly.
I like that, but I wanted to show, all the scantily clad women and all the sexual innuendo, because here's this band that, is like Backstreet Boys, basically their base audience, are all these teen girls, and look at this stuff. It's like girls rollerblading.
And girls in little skimpy lingerie. Did 13-year-old girls like to look at that? I don't know, but I think the band does. Okay, so my first pick of the day is going to be a film called Rude Boy that features The Clash. It came out in 1980, and it's really a nice sort of a bookmark to a period. It really shows how unpleasant life was in England for these people. And The Clash, of course, is wonderful. They just are themselves, and they put themselves in this movie, but almost as a backdrop. So check out this little scene we're going to show you here, where the main character, who's their roadie, is mouthing off a little bit about being a bigot to the guys in the band, who of course are not bigots. Check out this scene from Rude Boy.
Did you see that black geezer singing White Riot? I thought it was really funny.
Yeah? What's so funny about it? I've been watching you.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Quite a lot.
I mean, I wish that more black guys would come around the gigs.
Yeah, that's all right, but not to see a Lemonade singing White Riot, you know what I mean?
Lemonade. There's not enough things,
It's great to see black geezers coming, but watching a black geezer sing White Riot, it's like watching a white man chanting Rastafari and all these black things.
You know what I think, don't you?
Yeah, I suppose I do.
Right. So that's it, really. I'm watching you.
Yeah, I'll keep it in mind.
Do.
Okay, so there's just a little taste of that. You know, one thing that I really like about The Clash is that they wanted to get involved with the film, but they chose not to have the film based on the band, but more on what's going on around the band and the touring of it. And for any of you out there that are into punk rock, and you know, Rancid, NoFX, if you don't know about The Clash, this is like the seminal punk rock band.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the Sex Pistols had some success, but it was more kind of like a novelty band.
Yeah.
These guys know how to play. They've stuck around for a long time and probably got as mainstream as any punk band has to date, with the exception of maybe Green Day, if that's punk, I'm not sure. But Rude Boy's really interesting. It gives you a great insight into a rock and roll band on the road, so check it out. And now we're going to move along to my next pick, which features probably my favorite band in the world, Kiss.
Of course.
And this was made back in 1978. It was actually a TV film. It's called Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. And I remember my parents holding this over my head for weeks about watching it and sitting in front of the TV in awe. I mean, there was a time where I had no concept that Kiss
were
like human beings. And the movie is pretty hokey. It actually takes place at an amusement park, which is Magic Mountain. And there's like this mad scientist guy that's creating all these androids throughout the park for the exhibits.
Played by Anthony Zerbe.
Yeah, Anthony Zerbe. And he actually ends up creating a bunch of evil Kiss androids that take over and start causing just a lot of problems for Kiss. And what's really cool is they all have like superpowers and stuff. And you know, I love superpowers. And you know, one thing that makes this movie a little bit cheesy is the orchestrated music that's played throughout it. It's like this stock footage score music. But it's a lot of fun. Any Kiss fan, you gotta love it. If you're not a Kiss fan, watch it anyway. So let's take a look at this little clip from Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park where the evil Gene android is being a vandal, basically. Let's take a look.
The evil Gene. Oh man, do you love that music? It's Beretta, and Kojak,
Or
and Starsky and
like
Hutch.
any police show from the 70s.
Okay, it's campy. It's campy given. But you know what? There are some neat things in this. And if you like Kiss, like the talismans that each one of them has for their superpowers, it's cool. As far as their dialogue, well, that's another story. But it's produced by Hanna-Barbera, the people who did like the Banana Splits and everything, that kind of deal. If you can find this, it's totally worthwhile. It's a fun thing. And this is the craziest thing about this is they make evil Kiss. I'm sorry, what is Kiss to start with? Oh, there must be good Kiss.
Totally.
Remember the song they sang? The song they sing, the evil Kiss sings "Rip and Destroy."
It's like Hotter Than Hell.
Hotter Than
They're
Hell.
Like, rip and destroy.
Like that's more evil than Hotter Than Hell.
Well, they're trying to brainwash a crowd.
Totally. Anyways, if you can find Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park, it's totally worthwhile.
They should have made the comic book thing.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, do your next
but
pick.
that would have cost money. My next pick for today is the film Backbeat, which is the story that is not usually seen or heard about the Beatles, this is about the friendship between John Lennon and his best friend, Stu Sutcliffe. They were best friends in art school. And in this film, it's a very young Beatles. They're in their like late teens and maybe early 20s. Like George Harrison, I think, is like 16 in this thing. Anyways, check out this clip where they're deciding that they're going to go out and do it. This is John and his best friend Stu from Backbeat.
Went out on a limb for you, and you're going to toss it away to go and play bass in John Lennon's skiffle band.
It's not a skiffle band.
He's going to say...
It's a rock and roll band.
I open the doors for
It's
you.
not my band.
Yeah, that's what he'll say.
It's a group. We're a group. We're in it together.
He's going to shit himself.
I like Arthur. You know, he's all right. But he thinks art's something you got to hang on the wall in a pool of light. It's a disease with him. He thinks it's all about Van Gogh.
Nothing wrong with Van Gogh.
Oh, no, I had away with Van Gogh.
Did you?
Bumped into him the other night in the Grapes.
Yeah?
Yeah. So Vincent, mate, where did it all go wrong? You know what he said? What do you mean to tell you this?
Yeah, what'd he say?
He said if I could do it all again, I'd be up there shaking me butt doing blue suede shoes. It's all dick. That's what he said. I gave him your regards.
Ah, thanks.
You're the paint.
So this is a really great rock and roll movie, and you know it is a very, very early Beatles. So it shows them playing around, and they're not playing Beatles songs. So don't watch this expecting to hear Beatles songs. They're playing covers of like, you know, Hey Mr. Postman and all that. And the soundtrack is great. Actually, the music was recorded by Dave Grohl on the drums and Dave Pirner and a bunch of those rock dudes. Really cool.
But it's very religious to the original stuff. It's not like a new take on it. It's very authentic.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's not an updated, like, you know, synthesized thing. And this film is just really authentic and captures that time period well. Even if you're not a Beatles fan like me, but I still liked it.
But it still is a sweet story about their friendship.
That's right. And you know, now before our #1 Phil picks, we have a very, very special guest and a special treat for you people out there and for us.
A guy who's basically a combination, the living embodiment of rock and roll and the cinematic image. I'm talking about the guy sitting right next to me, Robbie Rist. Hi, Rob.
Hi, how are you?
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. I still feel uncomfortable. I don't think I'm the exact right pick. I mean, there's got to be guys like left from your metal days you could have had, you know.
We couldn't get Rudy Sarzo.
Right. Oh, really? Okay. CC DeVille's not working, you know.
Yeah, we couldn't get him.
No, we wanted you. Because your initials are like rock and roll, R&R.
That's true.
Exactly.
You know? Okay, good.
And
so
of course,
I feel a little more at home now.
But just a little.
Yeah. Just a
Rob
little
has
more.
a film that he likes very much. It's a rock and roll film. Tell us a little bit about that, Rob.
Okay, well, first off, you said at the beginning of the show, perhaps we're going to see films that the audience has never heard of.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I managed to pick the film that even you two film snobs.
Even we never heard of.
Yeah, these people never heard of it.
That's
Directed
true.
by none other than Deliverance and Excalibur director John Borman.
And Zardox.
And Badlands.
Oh, yeah, totally. What, Borman did that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Anyhow, yeah, and it's called Having a Wild Weekend. It's with the Dave Clark Five. Mostly it's with Dave Clark. And the chronology goes something like this. The Beatles had a hit. The Dave Clark 5 had a hit. The Beatles released an album. Dave Clark 5 released an album. Beatles made a movie. Dave Clark 5 made a movie. Beatles made Pet Sounds. Dave Clark fell off the face of the planet.
There you go. It's logical.
Working for him till then.
So Dave Clark is who was actually the drummer and not even the singer of the group, is the star of this thing. He must have known someone, but the rest of the group are in there. And it's a very somber piece, very much more story-driven than Hard Day's Night is. And
yeah, a
actually,
little bit.
I see it as an allegory about Dave Clark's relationship with the Beatles, because pretty much he just spends the whole thing chasing this girl around. So this is my clip from Having a Wild Weekend starring the Dave Clark 5.
Rock and roll.
I've never seen it.
No hurry, is there?
I don't need to spare the weekend. I've got things to do. I'll get the car.
The King Monk said, had he done right to kill the cat?
Whoa.
Okay, so they're like hanging out with some squatters, and the army gets called in.
Because that always happens.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
And even the ending of this film, it doesn't even end on like a, boy, that's wacky. What a wild weekend they had. It was like,
I figured from the title it'd be some kind of campy like beach blanket.
yeah,
with the,
it's pretty much they I guess assumed that's where they were going to go, but it became much more somber as the.
But
piece
not
goes
quite as
on.
crazy as Head.
No,
Okay.
because that has no narrative line whatsoever.
See, that's what I love about this show is that now I have a cool new movie that I can watch.
That's right.
You know, when just when I thought I saw it all, which never happens.
Exactly. And if there's anyone out there in TV land who doesn't know the comic and dramatic mastery of Rob Rist, here's a book that actually features him Is that a? Can you get that in frame there? Is that good? You like that? Is that good for you?
There we
Yeah,
go.
it is.
Look,
All
there
right.
he is.
There he is.
That cute little kid.
Look at that! Look at that
What
astonished and horrific look on his face.
Yeah, I was seeing my own future.
Oh, God. So, yeah, in case a lot of you haven't recognized, he played Cousin Oliver on The Brady Bunch, which is one of my favorite shows. I still live in that world for some reason, but I twisted it to make it my own.
Yeah,
and just about every stinking show back then. I mean, you really
Indeed.
worked all the time.
Yeah, I worked a lot, yeah.
He's a little slave child.
Well, I think it's cool. He also...
Me and Shirley Temple. Don't lock me in the fridge, Mommy!
Also, he did the voice of the Michelangelo in the Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Right.
Which, I mean, you can't get... I mean, how cool is that? What a great piece of pop culture.
Yep, cultural
Ninja
icon,
Turtles.
not once but twice.
I mean,
Indeed.
God,
that doesn't happen.
You'd think the cash would be falling out of the sky.
Like when we were... Yeah, what happened?
I don't know.
Like when we were out playing in the backyard with a stick, you were like working 20-hour days.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. But
And my social skills mirror that as well. Yeah, because I've never really socialized properly. So I spend a lot of time in my house just watching movies.
of yourself.
Hey, see?
Yeah.
And here we all are. See how that
so
works?
cute.
So we're going to move to my final pick of the day,
Okay.
which is a documentary. It's called Decline of the Western Civilization. I think we can relate to that, boys. Part 2, The Metal Years. Now,
Don't confuse this with part 1.
No, part 1 was about punk rock and the whole punk lifestyle. Part 2 is the complete opposite of that, and it's about the heavy metal lifestyle, which for many years was a huge, I don't want to say fad because metal's always around, but for a while, I mean, people were living it, breathing it, and eating it and sleeping it, except...
Regent St. Clair
was
living the
actually,
metal thing.
Was
He
Mr. Glam rock and
Huge
roller.
hair,
and I wanted to show some concert
guitar
footage, but he
stand.
denied me that. But we're going to take a look, and what's so great about the rock and roll lifestyle is they are completely going for broke. They have no doubt in their mind they're going to make it. They live day to day. They don't look, a week in advance. And we're going to, the film features a lot of people that have made it, like the guys from Poison, Gene Simmons, Ozzy. But we're going to take a look at some of the hopefuls who, they're just bound and determined they're going to make it. So let's take a look at the metal years.
Because, if you saw their band, you wouldn't have any doubt.
Yeah, of course, the name of the guy's band is Wet Cherry. So let's take a look at this clip from Decline of the Western Civilization, Part 2.
What if you don't make it as a rock star?
Oh, I will.
But what if you don't? In 10 years, what are you going to be doing?
See, I will, though, see.
What if you don't make it?
But I will. I will make it.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to quit until I do. The main key is perseverance, and I will persevere.
That question is not in my mind. The minute you doubt is the minute you lose it.
What if I don't make it? I'll find a vacant drainage ditch or something and lay my bed down.
I don't know. I end up on Skid Row or something. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going to be.
Doesn't it worry you?
No.
I'm like him, though. It really doesn't enter my mind.
I can't picture not making it. It's just, you see, if you came and heard us, you'd think the same thing, too.
That you were definitely going to make it?
Oh, yeah.
What if...
Well, there you go. In as much as Decline 1, I feel, is very hopeful and very optimistic, and the guys in the punk scene almost seem kind of noble, the guys in this, they almost seem completely delusional. And as we said before, my favorite scene in this film is when Chris Holmes, the guitarist in Wasp, is in the pool completely obliterated, and his mom is sitting next to the pool, and it's just like, you feel the guy's pain. He's just like drinking quarts.
Drinking quarts of vodka.
It's
just
insane. But it is a great historical document to the time and to the scene, I
It
must say.
captures that moment.
Totally, and it's available, so you can go rent it.
And you and I were right there, baby.
Totally, 100%.
Except you were on the stage.
Well.
Okay.
Anyway, my first film, my favorite rock and roll film of all time, which I feel is kind of the rock and roll film for our generation, is called, of course, Rock and Roll High School. It was released in 1979, directed by Alan Arkush, who also directed Get Crazy. And of course, it features a great cast, including the Ramones and Paul Bartel and Mary Warnoff. Check out this scene from what I believe is the quintessential rock and roll movie for our generation, Rock and Roll High School.
This is the Rockometer. It is used to measure comparative rock and roll intensity levels. Watch the mouse while I turn it on. notice the loss of hearing.
Yeah, so, you know, there's not much more I can say about Rock and Roll High School because I think it's probably one of the more well-known films that we talked about today.
True.
And it's a classic. If you haven't seen it, there's no excuse. Get off your butt and watch it. The one thing I will say is that this turned me on to the Ramones.
Absolutely.
Before this, I didn't get punk rock. I wasn't into it. Like what they always say to you back home?
Oh, punk rock sucks.
No, punk is junk.
Punk is junk.
You know?
And we always said, yeah, of course it is. We never heard
know.
any of it, but of course it was.
Well, after seeing this and seeing how cool, I mean, they're punk, but they're pop. They're the best. They're
Definitely.
Ramones. So, you know, I wish we had some more time to talk about other movies, but a few other great rock and roll movies I'd like to tell you that we just don't have more time to show you about is Rocktober Blood, which is kind of this campy, crazy thing. I just have a fond place in my heart for Rocktober Blood. Still Crazy, which is about this old band that reunite and get this like young hotshot guitar player to go on the road with them.
Not hot chick
No.
guitar player.
And Detroit Rock City, because it has Kiss in it. What
Of
can
course.
I say? That was really a film more for people our age than the teens they marketed it to.
Right, bad marketing job. Not a bad film for people who like Kiss, though. And some other great rock and roll movies that I would like to mention that we did not have time to show you today, of course, is A Hard Day's Night, which is the original music video. Enough said. Trick or Treat, which is another testimonial to 80s metal where a death glam star is raised from the dead by how? Playing his record
Sammy
backwards.
Kerr,
There you
baby,
go.
with Ozzy and Gene Simmons.
And Gene Simmons as Nuke. And of course, Leningrad Cowboys Go America, which is a very Jarmusch-esque kind of comedy. And also Roadie, that's kind of an oddity more than a great film, but if you can find Roadie, that's a weird one too.
With like Alice Cooper, Meatloaf, and Debbie Harry.
And Rick Ocasek.
And if you want any further information, any of you people out there, on the films that we've just talked about or on previous episodes of No Sleep, give us a call right now. Don't be lazy. Pick up the phone. It's 310-712-1973, the year Kiss was formed, baby.
And tell us what rock and roll movies that you like. And if you can also email us and reach out and touch us on the web thingy at www.nosleeptv.com.
And actually, you can email us like these people did, and we can read your emails on the air, which we love to do.
And let me just read a few here very quickly. Dave Mazzutani, who is an attorney in Century City, says, "Thank God it's Friday," featuring the Commodores. Remember the Commodores? Most excellent. Alicia says she loves Tom Waits' Big Top. Very cool. And
that's Alicia Nichelle.
Yes, it is.
Excellent.
And also Mary Brown likes The Commitments, which is a very fine rock and roll film. And also she mentions a film we talked about before earlier on the show when Robbie was still here, Head by the Monkees. And she says, was that produced by Jack Nicholson? And of course, Mitch Smelkinson, Esquire, this is Spinal Tap. He loves that movie.
How can you not? I mean, that's the...
Totally.
And I have one from Stacy, who says that, of course, we have to include Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Amusement Park.
Which we did.
So we love that. We also have Rock and Roll High School from Jeff, the ex-tequila guy.
Sure.
So there we go. See, we're right on the same wavelength.
Interesting.
And from John Olivon, we have two, The Girl Can't Help It and The Tammy Show.
There you go.
He said that he wanted to make sure we didn't just mention stuff from the 70s and 80s.
Right.
So thanks to Robbie, we didn't.
Anyways, so that's it for us today. Come back next time. We'll have more great stuff to show you on No Sleep, and that's about all we have for you today.
And we want to make sure and thank our special guest.
And we want to thank Robbie, although he had to skedaddle because he's in the studio tonight, because he's a rock and roller, man.
You know, all those big celebrities, the time constraints are tough, so
You know.
he's off to go make some music. And you know, that's another reason we had him on, because for like last 10 years, he's been like 1 million LA bands.
Yeah, +2.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, everybody.
Come back again. We'll see you next time. Woo, yeah!